Tony Robbins once famously said, "Every problem is a gift. Without them, we wouldn't grow." On this note, group number 38 brings to you a consultancy project. The team members are Mona Lisa Saikia, Anki Wang, Jiluan Zhang, and myself, Rohan Pokhriyal. Our group interviewed two employees from Deloitte US through phone calls and asked questions relating to their job and workplace in general. The questions were aimed at identifying and analyzing a range of problems that the employees faced. Through this analysis, we have provided specific recommendations for these issues and supported them with appropriate justifications with reference to theories discussed in class. We interviewed two employees from Deloitte US through a phone call. While one of them is a middle-aged female living in Chicago, working at the position of actuarial senior associate, the other is a middle-aged male working at the position of finance senior manager in the same organization. Framing the right questions in relation to theories discussed in class was a very crucial part of our report, since we observed that a direct approach was not always getting the employees to openly discuss their problems. There were times when we asked them general questions informally to help them open up and facilitate a more open interaction. Therefore, we used a mixture of direct and indirect questions to get honest responses from them. We asked them questions like, how often do you get time to plan and go on holidays? Where was your most recent vacation? And do you like working in teams or managing projects by your own? Which one is more efficient? Amongst a variety of others. In this section, we are going to present an in-depth analysis of the problems faced by the interviewees as discussed with us.
So the first dominant issue is work-life balance. In our interview, the first interviewee, she said she spent most of time on working, so have less time on life, and she feels like she's losing a lot of personal time. And the second participant, he also mentioned that he feels like he doesn't have a good work-life balance. So according to what the participants said, they were not happy with their job requirements as they had to often spend extra hours for projects to be complete. And sometimes, even during their holidays, during vacations, the work was constantly bothering them, and they also mentioned that they could not take time out for their family as a result of that. It even caused personal conflicts in some cases where family time was given to professional commitments. And one employee stated that calls and mails from work during holidays was really bothering his partner and preventing a sound sleep. As a result, both quality of work and family ties were suffering.
The second important issue was the increasing amount of stress faced by the employees. Our conversation also led us to believe that the employees were in a position where more work was expected from them than what they were responsible for, making them feel stressed. Frequently working overtime, usually more than 45 hours per week, was one of the major contributors to that stress. While one employee was expected to do all the execution work as the company was about to hire a new employee after a week, the other felt that the company wanted to improve the employees' working hours, but no concrete action was being taken in that direction.
The third important issue was the level of job satisfaction experienced by the employees. The second interviewee mentioned that he was dissatisfied because he felt like he was doing a high visibility project and working with the VPs of the organization, which was relatively more important job than some of the other employees at his level was doing, but wasn't being financially compensated for it in any way. He then goes on and directly voices his concern by saying, "I feel like I am getting underpaid."
The fourth and the last issue faced by the employees was poor quality of teamwork. According to them, it was because some employees were not properly qualified for certain projects. Moreover, the resources were not properly allocated, As a result of this considerable knowledge gap, and the trained employees had to do the underqualified employees' work, which was perceived as unfair and detrimental to successful project completion as more time was wasted among the team members in resolving their differences and individual doubts, rather than focusing on the client and the project in hand.
To sum up, the problems could ultimately be categorized under concepts related to work-life balance, job satisfaction, employee stress, and teamwork, which have been demonstrated through verbatim highlights from the interview and analyzed in the light on the main themes that emerged through the interview. Some suggestions or recommendations based on researches and theories have been provided as probable solution to the problems faced by the employees.
First one is work-life balance. The first recommendation to manage work-life balance would be to encourage more flexible work arrangements. For example, providing options of work from home, especially for employees who are parents, just like in our case. This is because the employees feel that there were more personal conflicts when they were expected to give time at work, which they were supposed to spend with their family. There are boundaries between work and home, and for parents who work from home, these boundaries become more interesting to understand, according to the boundary theory. This is due to an increasing number of single parents, privatization of family life, and the lack of local resources and facilities. In the Western culture, where both parents are working and an increasing number of women are involved in paid employment than ever before. An increasingly demanding work environment coupled with long working hours and exhaustion leave less room for quality lifetime. The consequences lead to juvenile crime, drug abuse, and less participation in community activities and taking care of elderly or disadvantaged members in the family. This can be controlled if parents are allowed to work from home. And the second recommendation is to avoid taking work home, especially for the new generation. It's very important to maintain the distinction between work and home. This is because the millennials are unwilling to sacrifice their personal lives for the sake of their careers. They will prefer have a job that gives them more vacation time rather than part-time jobs or even highly paid jobs. So from the organization's perspective, it will help them retain the best employees by meeting their individual work preference.
The second problem is job satisfaction. The second interviewee experienced a high level of job dissatisfaction because of being underpaid. Because of the absence of an important hygiene factor, which is money, in accordance with Herzberg's two-factor theory, analyzing what he thinks he should be paid will help quantify his contributions and expectations. We feel it's possible that there is a difference between the reality and what the employee feels. However, there is also a possibility that the employee psychologically adjusts the work and pay imbalance by undervaluing his performance or contributions according to the equity theory. For the second recommendation, employees should be acknowledged and suitably rewarded from their contributions as people choose how to behave. From among different alternatives, collectively based on their expediency, instrumentally, and valence according to the equivalence theory, they analyze if their efforts lead to a higher performance, if they will get any reward from it, and lastly, whether they find the rewards desirable. Giving the employee freedom to choose their rewards might help indirectly compensations for the low pay and in choosing their alternatives. Like for instance, an unhappy employee who's thinking of leaving the organization might even reconsider his decisions.
Stress management was important in case of both the employees, as it was mentioned by them that their workload was very high because they had to undertake large projects and work for almost 45 hours every week, which caused high level of stress in their workplace. It is important to understand stress through the demand control model, which emphasizes work stress as a result of high demand that implies high workloads and overtime, and low job control, which implied employees' potential control on his task. Researchers also suggest that workplace stress could lead to deviant behaviors, and deviant behaviors are generally known to have negative impact on the organization, employees, and customers as well, which ultimately affects the business overall. The first recommendation was to conduct workshops to teach stress reduction techniques and their benefits. Practices like meditation, deep breathing are well known to reduce stress. It will also help the employee to manage their stress and learn different things apart from their work. And the next time when they get back to their work will be more refreshed with a clear mindset. The second recommendation suggested to talk with the fellow employees to discuss their work stress, because sometimes talking to the fellow employee who is not from the same team will give a better insight by looking at the problem from a different perspective. Also, if the organization could invest some resources to outsource a counselor on a monthly basis will be beneficial for the employees personally to resolve their issues and manage their work stress efficiently.
The first recommendation suggests that the organization should invest more money into recruiting the right people for the team. As mentioned by the interviewees, since the project was an actuarial project, it was more data intensive. More time was wasted in clear adopts for the teammates, which was affecting their performance in the long run. So it's better from both the organization and employees' perspective to hire the right people rather than randomly hire someone to fill the void in the team. And using assessment tool will help in selection process to analyze their skills and attributes needed for the role. The second recommendation allows self-managed teams like in our case, to obtain more power and autonomy to optimize the team efficiency. As the employee said, they wasted time within the team instead of spending time on their clients, because some of their team members are not qualified for that project. If the company gives a project team core member the right to choose who has the expertise in the particular field that they need for this project, they won't spend time on the knowledge gap or answering irrelevant questions. It turns out they will cooperate and support each other much more efficiently and perform better.
We followed a systematic approach of asking questions that could bring out the problems faced by the employees and analyze their responses in the light of relevant theories. This helps us understand that certain organizational practices could improve for the benefit of both the employees and the organization. Rigid working hours could be replaced with more flexible working hours and arrangements like work from home. Instead of expecting overtime from every employee, workshops for meditations, deep breathing, and other stress reduction techniques can be conducted. Compensating employees who work more with recognitions and rewards like vouchers or other incentives and giving them the freedom to choose them. And lastly, focusing on hiring the right person for the right job and giving self-managed team more autonomy to choose their teammates would empower them and assist them in choosing the right person for the project.
The employees were questioned on a range of concepts like personalities, motivation, teamwork and diversity, well-being and stress, and conflict, among others discussed in class. While the overall review was positive, some probing helped us understand and highlight certain key issues faced by them as employees of Deloitte USA. This understanding further helped us to frame probable solutions or recommendations for the organization as consultants. More focus has been given to explain why we recommended certain practices to the organization. The answers from the interviewees reflected problems related to work-life balance, which was affecting their personal time and space, high workloads and expectations of overtime, which was leading to high levels of stress for both the interviewees, job dissatisfaction due to less pay for more work, and lastly, poor teamwork because of randomly allocated resources and team members, leading to low quality performance and some employees doing all the work to compensate for the others.